Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. Oh, good one, William. Good one.
Just like to ruin the start of the take.
Well, what was I going to say? Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name's Shorty McShorebread, and you're watching the best damn YouTube talk show on YouTube. And with me, this is called the Collision Talk Podcast, not that other one. This is Collision Talk Podcast. Aye, man. And we've got today our special guest, William Webb. And you know, with a name like that, he must be a fucking superhero or something. Huh? You must be a superhero. We're going to expose you today, William.
It's my secret identity, yeah.
Aye. So, welcome everyone. I bet William's a bit confused. He's like, what's going on here? So, if you didn't know, William, Shorty and I, Shaker, we kind of merged into one.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
that happened on the season finale. But, so we're going to talk about Birds of Prey. Yeah, apparently it's a giant flop after 2 days of release.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that. I wonder how much of that is it coming out during Oscars busy time when people are watching legitimately very good films.
Exactly, because I just realised Oscars is tonight. I thought it was like next weekend or something, but...
Totally forgot, didn't track it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't usually watch it myself because, you know, for all you Americans out there, we're asleep when it's happening. But we've got some people coming in the chat. Quantum Surge, hello. Mr. Grumpy, GL, Emil Johansson. And so yeah, we're just gonna kind of casually talk about Birds of Prey. I watched your review. It was quite kind of short.
I just watched yours.
And sweet. So what was, like, we can go into so much about Birds of Prey, but overall, I thought the film was just fine. I didn't think it was great. Wasn't expecting much anyway. So, what was your kind of initial kind of thoughts on it?
My expectations were definitely low going in. I really didn't like the marketing campaign. And I also didn't like Suicide Squad, although I thought that she was one of the better elements. It's a bit of a mixed one for me because I'm a big comics reader, and Harley Quinn has always been a character I don't like much. I don't think there's that much interesting stuff done with her. I'm aware they're doing more interesting stuff with her now, like the Gotham City Sirens, the new Birds of Prey, and also Harleen, which is like a DC Black label book. But with all those low expectations, I actually quite liked the film. I thought it was pretty good. Like you say, it's no great shakes. It's nothing like Massive, the movie.
It's no Man of Steel.
Yeah, it's no Man of Steel, the most important Superman version ever. It's not like this groundbreaking picture, but for me, it's like a fun movie that works, which is not that common with some superhero stuff. So, yeah, I particularly liked the fight sequences. I thought the choreography and the use of powers, or as limited, were good. Like there's a nice sense of how the locations kind of play into the fights. That like police evidence locker room fight is really good.
Someone said that Harley Quinn was overpowered. I saw someone say that.
I thought everyone else was underpowered. I mean, they only had Black Canary use her powers once, which is like, if I had a sonic scream power, I'd probably use it a bit more. And of course, Cassandra Cain basically is nothing like her comics version, so she doesn't have any powers in that as well.
And you know how people are saying, the costumes are not comic accurate, right? See, at the end, do you know how bad Huntress looked?
Yeah, I think a non-comic costume is good because it's not a comic.
Yeah,
it's a movie. It's nice to do that. And for me, like as somebody who really loves comics but also really loves movies, I don't want films to be like comics because they're not the same thing. And I think like when it comes to costumes especially, you don't want to be accurate because it just looks bad.
Yeah. There's no way you can make a real person, you can't make a character being, you can't like portray them as a real person with those kind of costumes. It's just not going to work. JC is asking, is there a chance that BOP could do $1 billion? Do you think the film could make $1 billion? I doubt it.
Don't think it will, judging off its opening weekend, which is a real shame. I mean, it's a cheaper movie, so I don't know if it's going to be like more achievable for them to do badly on that. Because I know Shazam had like a goodish screening, like, but not phenomenal. But it had been made cheaply enough that it didn't matter so much. I also think there's a lot of work for like tie-ins, like products and merchandise and stuff, which of course is all part of the actual overall money making. So hard to say.
Yeah. So for a few people coming in, they probably don't. I'm not sure if they know you or not, but this is William from Indietrix Film Reviews. So how long have you been doing your channel, Will?
Indietrix has been running since I was at university, so probably like I think 7 years, maybe 8. The channel has only been kind of like done properly, like with actual regular uploads for about the last 2 years, 3 years. Yeah,
I like your little comedy skits that you do.
Oh, like the cats one that I did the other day. Yeah. Well, you'll be happy to know that I've got 2 and probably more sketches coming out. I actually did some stuff with a crew, which was really good fun. So I've got 2 of those coming out in February, March.
Sweet. So yes, Clark Kent, now you know who this guy is.
Yeah. Oh, I can see that Jose M as well, who's someone who regularly watches the channel, is in the comments as well. That's nice.
Jose M is a all-round good guy.
Yeah.
Chris Clark coming in with that get woke, go broke. What do you think about these get woke, go broke YouTubers and these people?
I really don't get it. I mean, Shazam was a pretty woke movie, and it did absolutely fine business. So I don't know. The get woke, go broke thing is, I think, sort of manufactured and not very true.
Yeah, so, you get these. You get some. I got attacked by one of my subscribers just the other day. Like, you're one of those people who calls us the N word, right? Not that N word, the other N word that gets me demonetized here on YouTube. And you're going to call it. You think we are incels? I'm like, no. I was just like, some people take this get woke, go broke shenanigans a bit too far.
I think it's just like silly stuff. You have someone in the stream here as well saying almost all movies directed by women are awful, which is like patently not true. Kind of like a silly thing to believe. Also, I think Kathy Yan, the director of the film, actually did really well. I think one of the best things about the movie is its directing. It certainly came across a lot stronger as a flavor than most superhero movies, which I think is a good thing, you know.
Yeah, I would have liked, I mean, if there was no action in the film, I would have been quite happy with just having these characters. Her direction was actually quite solid for the most part. I know the Cassandra Cain stuff, like people are kind of annoyed about that. I thought Mary Elizabeth Winstead kind of felt a bit off. I thought
she was sort of underused, I think. Yeah.
Especially when she's supposed to be like the kind of heart. I thought she could have been like the heart and the emotional part of the story, because considering the plot, her family's died and everything, and she wants revenge. So it could have been like very Kill Bill in that way. But it's kind of, I don't see her coming back in the DCEU or at all, or any. I can't. It's like a Birds of Prey film, but it's all kind of led by Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie. So it's like, I don't know about a sequel.
Well, they really do tie it up. I don't want to spoil it too much, but like those characters' journeys are really finished at the end of the movie. And yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, it's interesting because all of the characters, I think, have in one way or another featured in Birds of Prey, or not in the same lead up in the comics. But none of them have featured together. And also none of them in this are really much like their versions in the comics. Some of them are closer. I think that Renee Montoya is pretty good. I mean, it's a different take to the comics, but it's a pretty good take on the character. And likewise with Black Canary. But as you say, like Cassandra Cain is essentially not even the same character. Like it's just a name that they've applied. And that's the only thing in it, I think, adaptationally, that I didn't like that much, because Cassandra Cain in the comics is a really interesting character you can do a lot with. As far as it goes, I liked the Huntress as like a sort of like a comedic take on that vengeance story, with her like incredibly poor social skills, but they didn't do much with it, and that really does come back to it being the Harley Quinn show, as you say.
Yeah, and I did like the kind of humor in it, like the whole egg sandwich. I thought it was quite funny when she loses that egg sandwich and she's flying through the air.
I liked. There was someone's grievance with her was her having voted for Bernie Sanders in the 2016 presidential primary, which was great. It's interesting stuff.
So someone said that this film is not part of the DCEU. I would say it is, because you know the Joker. They mentioned Joker quite a lot in the film, and it is the Jared Leto one, even though you didn't see him. And it has the Suicide Squad Easter egg, if you want to call it. The what's it called? Captain Boomerang, his wanted poster was there. So there's a lot of kind of stuff like that. Sure, it could have done with a bit more like Batman. Maybe could have had a Batman. She did mention Bruce, because she named her hyena after Bruce. And
you
have you seen Fordville Lane? The Adventures of Fordville Lane?
No.
Because I thought the hyena, we thought the hyena died in the blast, and then it turns up at the end. I was like, oh, that's like a Adventures of Fordville Lane moment where you think the koala bear was dead during the film, and at the end it turns up. Spoilers, everyone, if you haven't seen that film. Starring Andrew Dice Clay. But
I think it is in the DCEU because, as you say, like it's very explicitly the Jared Leto Suicide Squad Joker who they're talking about, because you see shots from Suicide Squad in the film. It's also that Suicide Squad film has Ben Affleck Batman in it, so yeah, it seems like it's part of it. And also you see Ace Chemicals and Robinson Park. It's like very much in Gotham as it exists. I did kind of like that there was this sense of like a different Gotham, like the east side of Gotham, where it's kind of like shittier and it's like a sprawling LA or New York type suburb. But they still have those little bits of like, there's the L train, there's Robinson Park, it's like, and of course the fun fair, like this amusement mile. It's these very like Gotham centric locations. That was like a nice, clever way of dealing with that setting.
And what do you think about Ewan McGregor as Black Mask, and how do you feel about his death?
I like a good bloody explosion. I think that's always good.
It was a good explosion. I'll give it that.
There was a lot of like, sometimes when you have like a PG violent film, you don't get a sense of the violence. You know, it feels weirdly like it makes violence look easier. And so that's kind of the opposite of the point of those ratings. But when she's like breaking people's legs and people are getting blown up, I think that's like good stuff. As for Black Mask, I mean, again, it's like he's very much not like the Black Mask of the comics. Whether or not you see that as like a failed opportunity to show that character on screen, I've never been a huge fan of Black Mask, so that's not that interesting to me. But I think that the version of Black Mask they make for this is like good for the movie's tone. It made sense with the rest of the story for that. And Zaz a little bit worse, I think, because he's just kind of like, hi, I'm super crazy, but oh well, there you go.
I liked Victor Zaz. He had this kind of menacing kind of look and feel to him. Again,
I liked the design of the character. It's just like the character version, like the story that he's in, is like maybe not quite right for him.
But you know, I thought, like I said in my review, that the tone of the film, I thought it could have been a bit harder, a bit more adult, because when that scene comes up where he tells the woman to get on the table and undress, and I was like, oh, this is a bit, very adult, you know, and it kind of felt out of place. But I thought Ewan McGregor kind of did well. Could have not done with the campiness, but you know, if you go with this kind of cliche, always eat 100% edgy, dark mafia guy, then it would be a bit boring. So I guess I did like the snot bubble joke.
And I think the Christopher Nolan kind of films did hard-edged mafia guys to death, really. And they did them very well. So it's maybe good to not do that. I liked his performance more as it went on, because I started to understand what he was trying to do, which is that kind of spoiled kid, like a rich kid trying to deal with his legacy kind of stuff. And his whole ew kind of like vocal tick is really good fun, I think, you know. There's nothing wrong with a campy villain, and the film's really campy, so why not? Like,
what's his name? Walter Hamada, the DC Films president. Apparently, he, after I saw this on Deadline, Hollywood website, and they're saying that he intervened after the first test screening, and he took out the dick pics plot.
Dick pics plot?
Yeah, that's what Grace Randolph was saying, that there was a dick pics in the diamond. That's why Black Mask wanted it back. That's what, apparently that was the original idea, but I think they took it out. And
I can't imagine that would have been to the shooting stage, because like the whole film's plot hangs around that crime family. Surely they would have had a really hard time getting that right.
Well, I mean, reshoots can be quite quick and quite drastic these days, so you never know. And
I did think that like there was a sense of there being another movie in there somewhere. As you say, there were like two bits of like quite specific stuff about like sexual violence. There's that bit in the alleyway, and there's that bit, as you were saying, when they make the women dance on the table. And it feels like they had something else under there. Maybe I don't know if that was pushed out to make it funnier, because I think that's usually what test screenings end up being like. The movie wasn't funny enough. Make it like a Marvel film, you know.
Yeah.
Where's the jokes?
The jokes, the dad jokes. Where are the dad jokes? That's what the
quipping
websites. And so I wonder if it's true or not, because Walter Hamada, he's been the DC Films president. You never hear from the guy. He's the elusive man, like the Mass Effect games, right? He's the elusive one. So it's kind of weird that his name's kind of popped up with this film. And the Deadline website was kind of reporting it as, it was good that you intervened because, high critic scores, and, I mean, it's not doing that well in the box office. So, you know, some people are like, well, I hope Warner Brothers are satisfied with their tomato scores like Marvel are. Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I feel like the movie has time to grow as well. Like, we do focus a lot on opening weekend numbers, and it is a difficult opening weekend because of the Oscars. I feel like it could be quite a solid word of mouth film. You can imagine an audience coming to it because it's not much like other superhero films that are available at the moment, that kind of thing.
Kronos is saying this movie needed Jeff Johns. It needed a Jeff Johns touch.
What, the co writer of the Green Lantern film that we all loved?
Yeah. Apparently it's going to make less than Green Lantern opening weekend, I think.
Wow, okay.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So what else? What else kind of stood out for you in the film?
I really liked the kind of like stylish playfulness of it. I know we've talked about it a little bit, but I loved stuff like Harley raiding a place with these like confetti guns and all of the kind of like poppy stuff in there. I really liked the time-lapse drinking session in the nightclub. I mean, that opening 5-10 minutes is like a really strong opening to a movie, and it really sets out its stall about how it's going to be different. It reminded me of, again, like Shazam in that way, where it was like, here is our quite different view of what life is like in the DCEU for certain people. Here's a take on it.
I did like that when she goes into the police station and every bullet or every kind of canister that she shoots is different.
There's that one like slime one near the end. Yeah.
And the hyenas, like the one hyena, I did like. I did find it confusing. Like, see when the takeaway owner, he's like, yeah, it's business, I sold you out. Sorry, bye. I was like, that was a bit confusing. And that was supposed to be her kind of and also that kind of made her just kind of give up on Cassandra and just go, I'm just going to hand her over to Black Mask. It won't be as bad as I think it's going to be. It was just a weird turn in the film.
It's just like a weird, like all those things where the characters do stuff because they need the plot to move on, not for any other real reason.
But I do like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. She's just really great, like her mannerisms and her kind of voice as well.
I think she's the only version of the character that doesn't like annoy me, and every time I see her, she's like, I remember playing the Arkham games and really loving them, but desperately trying to not do the Harley kind of stuff because it's so grating, I suppose. But she's kind of like grating in the right way. I think she doesn't stop being like this awful, slightly annoying character, but she just does it in this like endearing, clever way. I did like the little touches of character depth where every now and again she'll like psychoanalyze someone. It's like a nice reminder that some writers forget that she is a PhD in psychology, and that's a nice thing, And
we got a nice kind of a little bit more backstory with the animated animated intro, which was quite good. I liked the post-credit joke, kind of got ya kind of thing.
It's like the one in Ferris Bueller, right?
Yeah. And so overall, I did like the film, but I'm not in a rush to kind of go and see it again.
Yeah.
There are kind of weak parts to the film. There's strong parts to the film, but I would probably... I would say Suicide Squad was even better. What do you think
I
about that,
see.
Will?
I really don't like Suicide Squad. We're gonna have to disagree on that. Although I know you've seen the extended version, which I haven't. I don't know if that fixed it. Certainly, I felt that Suicide Squad had more interference behind the scenes, to the point that it's not. I couldn't really consider it to be the director's film.
Release the air cut.
Yeah, bring the aircut on. There's a real like sense in that movie that there was a specific way of them approaching it, and they deliberately cut it as much as they could to make it feel like a different movie, which is always a bad idea, you know.
The extended cut, I mean, it has like a few extra scenes, and I guess that's welcome, but doesn't really change that much. And David Ayer, because you see in the trailer with the Joker towards the end, he survives the helicopter crash. He turns up at the end of where the final showdown is. So that part, that clip is in the trailer, and then also David Ayer showed off I don't know where it came from, but it keeps popping up, of Joker standing side by side with what's her name, the witch. At that
Enchantress,
yeah, at that final showdown play. So, and then there's also ones where he's sitting in the Batmobile with Batman kind of facing him, which is that's good. I don't know if he shot those scenes or not, but it's there in the concept art. So that's why everyone's asking for the air cut. Once we get the Snyder cut, William, we are
that'll be
going
next.
for the air
We'll
cut.
do that. I feel like when I watched Suicide Squad, it had like 3 beginning sections in like a row where it's introducing you to Waller, then it introduces you to some of the characters, and then even you're getting those like half an hour in when other people show up to the city when they're all kind of gathered together for the first time, and you get a little flash of backstory for each one of them, and it just made me think that the movie was supposed to start there in the city and have the rest of it as flashbacks or something like that. It didn't feel like it was structured. It was supposed to be originally structured non-linearly and then was made linear. That's how I felt about that movie, which of course ruins the pacing of the film, which was my big problem with it. And also, there's a very obvious solution to the Enchantress problem that they don't do at the end, which they kind of go out their way to set up and then don't do. So that feels like there was a different ending for sure. Like, that's why I'm not surprised that Joker and Enchantress shared screen time.
Yeah. And Diablo was also he survived. He didn't sacrifice himself. There's a shot of him standing at the end. But going back to Birds of Prey, why did I don't understand why Cassandra Cain? I don't know why she swallowed the diamond. Like, did they explain why she swallowed it?
It's a MacGuffin, right? Yeah, it doesn't really have any explanation.
I guess they needed the toilet jokes. The toilet jokes in there.
Yeah, I was surprised to have like a whole minute-long shit joke montage at the end. That was interesting, but there you go.
GC is asking, should DC hire Robert Downey Jr.? No, because he's a flop outside Marvel these days.
I mean, there are other actors in the world. It's okay to hire other people,
Did you see Doolittle?
No. I can't bring myself to do it, especially when there are so many good films out at the moment that I haven't seen. Like you're looking at Parasite versus Doolittle. I feel like it's an easy choice.
Parasite. I'm not sure. Did you do a review for Parasite?
Yeah, it came out last week. Yeah. It's a great movie, really good.
It is, yeah. Seeing Parasite, at first I was like, the Kang Sung-ho. I was like, did he really need to stab? Oh, sorry, spoilers if you haven't seen it. But did you really have to stab that person? And then I was like, well, he did say some horrible things about him and his family. So I was like, it was kind of gradual build up of kind of resentment and that kind of thing.
If you haven't seen the rest of the director's films, Bong Joon-ho, he's really worth seeing. But all of his movies have a thing like Parasite's halfway kind of twist, or even Parasite's ending twist, where it's like something very unexpected happens to the characters, and it feels kind of weird at the time. Yeah. And then in retrospect, you see it throughout the film, and you go, "Oh, okay, that's what it's about." And I like that ending of Parasite because it kind of tied into the political themes of the film more.
I did kind of like, because I'd seen The Host, and I was like,
I
remember seeing it in the cinema. I've only watched it once, and I didn't understand it. I didn't like this was like probably the first time I'd seen a Korean film where the tone was kind of kind of multi-genre kind of type film, and the tone was kind of all over the place. I didn't get it. I was like, what the hell is this? And then, so a few years have gone by, and I thought, okay, well, Snowpiercer, was that his film?
Yep.
Yeah. So I did kind of enjoy that a bit more. And then before Parasite came out, I thought, okay, let's check out Memories of Murder, which is amazing.
Great movie, yeah, and
It's
surprisingly
funny.
hard to get in the UK, way harder than it should be.
And Mother as well.
Yeah, great film.
Again,
I think he's just got a really good back catalogue, and all of them are such, like, they all kind of take something from genre films and then subvert it in a really interesting way.
so yeah, good luck to Bong Joon-ho on the Oscars tonight. Good luck to Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is going to win all the awards, Joker and all that stuff. And
I think he will win. I think Joker will win a lot. Yeah.
Aye, man. And all the Twitter feminists are going to start crying because they're losers. Or fake feminists.
I didn't love Joker. I didn't actually review it in the end, but I know, shocking. But I mean, there's plenty of good things in the movie that it should win for. I really hope almost that it wins cinematography and score, probably production design, probably costume as well. Yeah, I think it's a really good movie in terms of the craft. I mean, you can. Yeah, I feel differently about some of the way the film works, but yeah. And I think Phoenix's performance is like, he probably will win. I mean, it is the biggest performance in the sense of like, it's the most out there performance of the kind of awards season. I'm kind of split about that because I sometimes like a more subtle performance, but I think it's definitely deserving of the nominations. So fingers crossed for him.
I put it to you, William Webb. I'm going to put it to you, the right honourable gentleman. I put it to you that you should go and see Joker live in concert with a live orchestra. It's playing in London, Sheffield, Glasgow, all these places.
Maybe I should. I mean, the soundtrack's amazing.
It is. Aye.
Hilda Gottnatur, is that her name? She's like Icelandic, I think. I actually just tried to Google it, and the Google didn't even know what I meant. Hilda Gottnatur, yeah. She's Icelandic. Great. I mean, it's a really good score. That's my favorite thing about the movie by far. It also looked really good. I mean, there's a couple of good films in the cinematography. I see The Lighthouse has got its only nomination for that. But you know, it's a good score, good cinematography.
Yeah. So what else is happening at the Oscars? Do you have a list there on Google?
I think the Oscars this year is not great. I think they could have picked some better movies. I went to the BAFTAs, as I was telling you, for the first time, which was really interesting. But yeah, it's wild sitting in an awards show because the weirdest thing about it is how long it is, and it's really boring. You do just sit there and watch people go up, it takes longer than it does on TV because they have to get up from their seats and kind of get through, you know. Did
you not vlog like a YouTuber?
Yeah, no, I did loads of vlogging, yeah, but it all went onto my TikTok. Yeah, I mean, it was like there's nothing to do. I was in the bit where none of the famous people go. So the only famous person I met actually was Joaquin Phoenix because he brushed past me to go to the bar. So that's it. That's all I got. Not exactly having a conversation with the guy.
Yeah. Did
I'm just looking.
Rub against him? Maybe
he rubbed against me. Yeah, I got some of his magic from him. Yeah. I'm just looking at the kind of nominations for the Oscars. I mean, Little Women I thought was really good, and it's only nominated for like 3 things, but I hope it wins those things. The Irishman, which I thought was really good, is up for like everything. Yeah,
probably that will probably win quite a lot. So
I think it'll win a couple. I mean, there's a couple where it's like they've got 2 nominations in Best Supporting Actor, so they might even lose because people can't agree on which one of the performances they liked more.
So what else has been nominated? Lighthouse? Did the Lighthouse get nominated? Anything?
The Lighthouse got nominated for one thing, which is cinematography.
Oh, well.
Which is a shame. I mean, it's really good cinematography.
I was amazed, like with that kind of aspect ratio and having everything in the frame was just amazing. I thought it was great, and the performances as well.
I got to meet Robert Eggers, the director, because he was in London doing a screenwriting talk for BAFTA, and he is like the most intense dude. He is such a specific, like focused kind of guy. He really doesn't want to like have anything interfere in his movies. And they built like that Lighthouse was built for the film, so that's how they managed to get everything to fit in. Right, it was like custom made with that very narrow ratio in mind.
You know, I think I don't know about other people, but I've not heard anyone say this, but I thought the film was about like someone trying to get to heaven.
Yeah, there's something religious about the film.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of like ancient Greek kind of symbolism, which completely went by me. When it's like a film like that, I'm like, I need to be told by other people what it means, you know?
I thought the light at the top of the lighthouse was heaven. You had Defoe, who was God, trying to protect it. And then you've got Pattinson, who's like trying to escape something he's done in the past. And he wants to get there. And the God's telling him, like, you're not allowed, I'm sorry. And he has,
so that's like the ancient Greek thing, because Pattinson is like Prometheus, you know, who steals the fire from the gods. So that's why he's like prostrate at the end of the film, because that's like a really famous image from ancient Greek myth. For me, like I kind of let that stuff go by me. I was just like focusing on how crazy the film was and how intense it was as an experience to watch. I totally lost track of time watching it, actually. It was really hard to tell kind of how far into the movie I was.
And Willem Dafoe was amazing as well.
Oh yeah,
and it has like really kind of good humor in it as well, like really surprising kind of humorous bits. But Dafoe was pretty amazing. It's not out on 4K for some reason, but hey,
it's not out on 4K. Did you say?
No, yeah, it's just regular Blu-ray.
They might do a proper one at some point in the near future. I mean, it's shot on film, so if anyone ever decides to do it, they can. I'm just looking at the rest of the nominations. I don't think there's anything. I mean, I was amazed that Ford versus Ferrari got nominated for Best Picture, which is just like, it's such a dad movie. I don't know how it even managed that. But I suppose Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is kind of a dad movie as well. So
Ford Ferrari, I mean, it was fine. It was like a by the numbers biopic kind of thing.
I deliberately didn't watch it so I could watch it with my dad. So there you go. That's why.
But this year I've not watched much. I watched Uncut Gems last week. Which is
great. I can't believe that didn't get nominated for anything.
Yeah.
Did you like the film?
What's that?
Did you like the film?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was. Did you see? I thought Adam Sandler. He sounds a lot like a young Al Pacino when he's like. Have you noticed? I don't know if.
In terms of like his improv kind of speaking?
Yeah, it's just kind of when he raises his voice or something like that. I thought that sounds like very young Al Pacino. But, another one awesome film from that director.
The Safdie brothers. The kind of crazy gang of movie makers.
Someone suggested, we need bring in the Safdie brothers to direct Doctor Strange 2. I was like, are you mother?
Why? What would you get from it? I don't think they do it, you know. They keep being circled to do like a big budget movie. They were attached for a while to the remake of 48 Hours, the Nick Nolte film. But I just don't think that studios will say yes to their particular brand of like strange shit that they want to do. So we'll see.
I thought Good Times was a bit weird.
It is a weird movie. Their favorite movie of mine is Heaven Knows What, but it's like really, really tough. It's about like heroin addicts living on the street in New York. So it's like none of the humor of Uncut Gems.
But you never know. The Safdie brothers might still end up in the MCU. The MCU. You had the Mississippi Grind directors turn out to do bloody Captain Marvel somehow. Yeah,
which was like, I don't know. I mean, I know how you feel about the MCU, but I just like there's no ability for directors to really do anything of interest with those stories. And like Captain Marvel was just like, I struggle even to remember what happened in the film. It's just such a bland movie in so many ways. Like say what you will about Birds of Prey, right? But it's not bland. Like there is a sense to the movie.
There's a kind of zaniness and a madcap kind of nice feel to it. You know, a very urgent.
They did something with it, yeah.
But I stayed away from most MCU movies now because it's just like bland. And I watch clips on Twitter and it's like, is this real? Is this was this actually in the film?
I remember you sharing the clip from the trailer of like that train fight, and it has like probably the worst bit of editing that I've ever seen in a blockbuster movie. And that's what they put out, you know. Jeez, yeah, just terrible.
One of the funniest moments. I couldn't believe it. But then you get these young, these film students, right? All these young film students in America who think this is great. This is quality filmmaking right here.
I wonder how much about that is just that, because we're getting to the point where people can have grown up with Marvel. I mean, Iron Man came out 11 years ago now, and like I think I would have been like 18 when that came out. So like if you even like 5 years, 6 years younger than me, then you've kind of grown up with those movies, and I feel like they might have a bit more of emotional impact for you. But I got a comment the other day on my channel where this guy, it was on the Parasite review, and this guy was basically saying like, I've grown up with the MCU and I've always loved them, but now I've started finding out about like other movies.
Shock.
And it turns out that like there's lots of really good stuff that isn't directed by Marvel. I'm kind of interested to see what happens with Marvel with their next kind of set of films, because they've got such luminaries as like Chang-Chi, the one of the like kung fu characters, and the Eternals. And I've been reading comics since I was like 8, and I've never heard of these people. I had to Google them when I first saw it. So I was like, okay, well, teach me if I'm wrong and everything, but it's funny, like Captain Marvel made a lot of money, but no one's talking about it now. And it's the same with like Age of Ultron. They keep making movies that are huge and make money, but ultimately have no pop cultural impact whatsoever, even on the stories set in the same universe. And I feel like you're going to have something like that happen with this.
Yeah, they're good social media campaigns. They're good buzz on their social media. And how many trailer views did it get on YouTube? But the person who said that they found other films that they were interested in. I think they finally realised, wow, there's films that actually have good colour grading and they have good cinema score.
Like something happens in the films.
Musical score in the background. Wow. Yeah. As good editing and good cinematography. Did you see that tweet of someone said Avengers Endgame cinematography is unmatched? Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it retweeted by a famous American independent cinematographer, and she was just like, what the fuck? Like, do you know other movies exist, right? Like, and to be fair, like I get
the
it.
blandest kind of shots as well. It was just muddy.
And they're all CGI shots too.
Yeah.
Like most of that was done in the studio afterwards. So, I don't know.
Kumail here says he's back to the Oscars. He says 1917 looks like a classic gem of a World War movie. Might just win Best Film Oscar this year. Edge past Joker. I see a lot of some people kind of going against 1917. They're saying, it's just like it's a Dunkirk wannabe.
Yeah, I mean, that's like just an easy thing to say. I mean, you can make films about wars. They don't all have to be compared to each other. But I mean, I haven't seen the movie. It just doesn't speak to me in any sense. And I think I find one-shot stuff really frustrating because people seem to think it's like the peak of cinema, even though it literally ignores one of the most important things in cinema, which is editing. I mean, 1917 is a bit of a weird one because it is very heavily edited, right? Yeah. It's just done very cleverly, so you can't tell. But that doesn't mean I want to watch the film. I was very happy for them when they won all their BAFTAs, and a lot of their crew were sat in the same section as us. I mean, there's a lot of good film craft in the film. I'm just not that interested in watching it. And again, it's that thing where I feel like in a relatively divisive year for movies, that might just be what everyone agrees on. It might be like Crash. Do you remember Crash in like 2004 winning when no one really liked the film? And in fact, the film's pretty terrible, but no one wanted to vote for Brokeback Mountain, in America. So they were like, well, fuck it. It's going to be Crash,
Yeah. I've seen both Crash. I prefer the David Cronenberg one, which is...
there's 9 Crash films, actually. It's one of the most common one of the most common titles for movies. But yeah, no, the David Cronenberg one is much better and very different.
That slip that one into someone's DVD case and they'll watch my mistake. What was going to say? James Gunn's Suicide Squad will flop. You got any expectations for this Suicide Squad?
I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy, either films that he made, and I didn't like Suicide Squad, so my expectations are low, let's put it like that. I think that I don't know why people are interested even in predicting box office sometimes, because it has nothing to do about how good the film is. And for me, like, I'm not interested in the fight between DC and Marvel for box office dominance, because both of them make a huge amount of money out of their movies, and it's not really important or interesting to film craft. And I say that as a fan of comics because I like seeing comic book films. I don't really care who's made them. I just want it to be good. It just so happens at the moment that the MCU isn't interested in making good films at all, and DC seems to occasionally accidentally make a good film. So,
well, I mean, Black Widow How do you feel about Black Widow? Like, is it going to be like this tough action film? Is it going to be better than Atomic Blonde? Is it going to be better than Nikita? Is it going to be better than every fucking women-led spy film ever?
I feel like every time a Marvel film comes out, there's like a month beforehand where they're in the press and they're talking about how like it's going to be really intense. Like they had that recently, slightly differently, but with talking about the new Doctor Strange film, where the director was like, it's going to be a horror movie and it's going to be R-rated and it's going to be really weird. And then it turns out that like, no, it isn't, because it's an MCU film and they have to be as similar as possible. And there has to be very little change.
Yeah. Do you see that Kevin Feige clip where he says, no, it's going to be PG-13 and you're going to like it? Scott Derrickson was on stage. And he's like, I want to make it weird, and it's going to be better than the original, and it's going to be hopefully darker and weirder. And some Marvel fan in the audience shouts, "Make it R-rated!" Like that's one thing. I don't know how you think that's going to happen. And Kevin Feige says, standing right next to Scott Derrickson, is like, "No, it's going to be PG-13, and you're going to like it."
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like he's the guy who holds the reins, right? So the movies will always inevitably be his vision of what they should do. And often it's like, well, as little as possible, you know.
The hack in the hat, that's what we call him here.
K-Fig, yeah. I've noticed someone in the comments asking, what do we think about Reeves' Batman, the Batman?
He's filming in Glasgow this month. So,
really?
Yes.
Are they doing it in Glasgow? Is that what's going to be Gotham?
Aye.
That's really cool.
I don't know when they're going to do it. They might do it at night when everyone's asleep, but
with a bit of rain, you know, Gotham.
There's nice Gothic type buildings here in Glasgow city centre, so I'm sure they can. I mean, hey, you bloody Hobbs and Shaw, right? They had a scene, the chase, the first kind of chase scene, is in Glasgow city centre, and they changed they changed the buses to English type buses, and
it's London in the movie, right?
It's supposed to be London, but it's actually Glasgow.
Yeah, so weird.
So
it's because there's only like one street in London where you can do proper like blocking it off, which is, I don't know if how often you've been to London, but Bank in London, there's like 3 streets coming on and off it, and it's a big, like, it looks like central London, but because it's the financial district, it's completely empty on Sundays, so they always block it off. But I think too many movies have done it, because it's in like The Mummy, the 2017 Mummy, it's in Pokemon, the Pikachu movie that came out last year, it's in Transformers, The Last Night, and it's like, after a while, American audiences are just going to think that's the only thing that exists in London. It's like that one street, so they obviously have to go to Glasgow and do it. I know that Kingsman shot all of its London stuff in Birmingham.
Right.
Well, why not?
It's weird, like, why can't you say in the plot, oh, we have to go to Glasgow, Scotland, for this mission? No, it has to be London.
They did go to Glasgow in Endgame, didn't they?
Well, I think they
went to Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
They went, but they went there. But I don't think it was shot there. I think it was mostly shot on a green screen studio.
But Batman, I mean, what do you think? How do you feel about Batman?
I'm really interested in Matt Reeves as a director. I think he's always been a kind of interesting guy. And those Planet of the Apes movies are like, they're the closest thing to like an art house blockbuster, I think, that's been made, because they're like really serious, quite long and very involved character dramas that happen to have like a talking monkey as one of their main characters. And it's done really, really well. Like, it's done seriously. It's not camp at all. It's very straight down the line. And they're bleak. They're really, really convincingly bleak about human nature. And they're also clever adaptations. So I'm really interested to see what Matt Reeves thinks about Batman. All of the kind of like writing around it seems to think it's going to be quite different to previous versions of Batman. And it's interesting because we've already had kind of 3 major takes on Batman, 4 depending on how you want to think about it. You've got the Batman animated series, the 90s one, that's like very kind of gothic, but has a tremendous sense of fun as well. I think there's a really like creative playfulness there. You've got the Nolan Batman, which is really grounded and talks a lot about crime. And then you've also got like the Tim Burton Batman that's very much like this kind of outrageous thing. And actually, of those, my least favorite is Burton's Batman, because I don't think he understands the character very well. That first movie in particular treats the reveal that Batman's parents died as a reveal, which is like, that's the first thing anyone knows about Batman, right? His parents are dead. And then the other version, of course, is the Lego Batman, which is like great and very stupid and nothing really to do with anything you could do in a live action film. I'm hoping that they'll do more about I'm hoping that they'll do more about Batman as a detective. I would love to see a movie where there's like one case and he's just working out what's happened. You know, there's been a set of murders and he's got to track down the person who did it, and it happens over the course of like one night or something like that. That'd be great. Whether or not they'll do something like that, I think it's pretty unlikely. But that's the version of Batman I think we haven't really seen. The only exception to that is there's you could have Batman as a kind of technological gadget-based thriller, like a James Bond movie, which would be quite fun. That'd be like 70s Batman, where he's got a hairy chest and he's always like bare knuckle boxing with people, mixed with kind of how Grant Morrison and Scott Snyder have written Batman as well. That'd be interesting.
So someone, I don't know where it came from, a rumor that the Batmobile is going to be like an American muscle car, right? Like, you know, like Bullet, Steve McQueen, that kind of thing. That'd be bloody cool. But then, so then you think about it. Well, Robert Pattinson, he does look like a kind of James Dean kind of young Batman hip type. Who knows what kind of direction they would go. That would be quite cool.
And the very first Batmobiles were like not, they weren't like branded or anything. They were like souped up versions of real cars that existed, and they had like black finishes. They weren't like with these massive tank designs or anything like that. So that would be in line with the comics. I think that'd be a cool thing to do.
But yeah, for Batman, Matt Reeves. I mean, I love Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. No, was it? No, War for the Planet of the Apes.
I get confused because the names seem like they should be the other way around on all those movies.
Yeah, the third one was War for the Planet of the Apes. Like you say, it is kind of like a blockbuster art house film, and it is like really long and kind of very slog to get through. I thought the third film very depressing at times.
But I think that's cool. I love that they're like,
in some ways,
massive budget end of the trilogy sequence, and we're going to do the smallest, saddest film story we can possibly think of. I remember that movie opens with like a 2-minute long silent shot following soldiers through a forest, like from behind. And it's just like, it's wild. You know, it's a really crazy thing to do in a blockbuster.
But yeah, so I know there's a lot of people on my channel who hate, well, I don't say hate, but they're not looking forward to Reeves' Batman because they wanted the Bat flick. You know, they wanted the Ben Affleck Batman film, which was, you know, Jay Oliver said it was very promising script. So again, the Snyderverse got effed.
I feel like there's a lot of issues with like some of the Snyder stuff. And in the end, it's kind of impossible to pick out what he did wrong and what he did right, and what works in those movies, because you don't know. You can rumor about it as much as you want, but you're not really sure. But I did like that they deliberately went with a Batman who is like past it, who has finished his career, who is like broken, and that was an interesting take on it. I thought that was a cool idea. It's a bit of a shame we won't see more in that vein, but there's been so many interesting takes on superheroes that we haven't seen. Like, I don't know if you ever heard about the Darren Aronofsky proposed Batman script.
I think I might have, but I've forgotten.
It was like redoing the year one stuff that Frank Miller had done. So it had like Batman as like this crazy homeless dude, and like Big Al was this like African American mechanic who owned a garage where he let Batman sleep. And it was like they were going to do something similar to that, but they were going to kind of mix it in with Dark Knight Returns and have Clint Eastwood play Batman, presumably as like super racist Batman. It would have been fascinating, and I can see totally why they didn't make that film.
Yeah, that would have even annoyed the Twitterati even a bit more, I think.
Someone's just referred to me as your shoulder angel in this.
Yes. Man, he's my superhero on my shoulder, William Webb. Someone
also referred to me as Taika Waititi, which is great.
That Taika Waititi's getting more annoying as he gets more opportunities in Hollywood.
I didn't watch his Jojo Rabbit movie. I'm just not interested. I'm like, I'd rather not watch a movie with like cutesy Nazis in it. Like, call me crazy.
Dimitar says, do you think the Snyder Cut will be announced on February 14th? 2/14? I don't think so, but I hope, maybe, you never know. I hope I'm wrong, but I doubt it. Fourth 1000, he keeps asking, will Amber Heard hurt the Snyder Cut? I don't know how that would why that would be. But what do you think about the whole Amber Heard situation? Have you heard much about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like hard to tell exactly what happened, but it does seem like increasingly worse for her day to day. Certainly, like I think she capitalized on people assuming the benefit of the doubt for her early on. I'd be surprised if she's in another DC film. Let's put it like that. I don't think that Johnny Depp's going to come back much after this. I mean, people got rid of Johnny Depp more, I think, because it was convenient. Because I don't know if you read that Rolling Stone article they wrote about him. But it's clear that like he's owed a lot of money, like really erratic, very bad at showing up and being professional. So it's like, I think it's been going that way for a while for him. And I think the Amber Heard thing was a convenient excuse for people to get rid of him for.
Who are these people who are talking about politics in the bloody chat? Yeah, I'm going to ban you losers. Anyway.
They're talking about something to do with the new Avengers film being diverse. And that's somehow come on to like...
Islamic States.
America will become IS. Yeah. All right.
You know the paranoia in America is insane. It's like they actually like first it was Red Dawn. Remember Red Dawn?
Yeah. How could I forget? There's 2 Red Dawn films as well.
Yeah. And then you see in the Goonies, right? There's a scene in the Goonies where he's like, Are you talking about those Iranians again? It's like I was like,
well,
what?
Those are the baddies in Back to the Future as well.
Oh, no, Libyans. They were Libyans.
Oh yeah, same difference I think for the American film-going audience, right? And it's kind of like this nuclear threat that's from the Middle East.
The boogie. They always need their boogeyman, and now it's who is it? It's Iran. It's Russia.
Well, they've gone back to Muslims as boogeymen, and they've also got the cartels. I've noticed a lot more cartel baddies in stuff. Did you watch Sicario 2?
I did, yeah. Oh man, that was so.
Sicario 2 opens with "What if IS but cartels?" and it's like the most unbelievable like right-wing American fantasy that you can possibly imagine.
I couldn't believe that opening, man. I was like, what? They got they made their way onto the Mexican border somehow, and now they're crossing in. Yes.
It's just wild. I'm really interested in how often like chats about comic book movies become like you're too left wing to like this movie, or like you're too right wing to like this movie. And it's like, I don't think that has much to do with how I feel about this Marvel film. Sorry. Like maybe the movie's just not great. I don't know. Like maybe it's not good. Maybe it's not bad. Yeah. Oh, and also, I don't know how you feel about it, but I noticed earlier on we were talking about Birds of Prey. It's nice to have a conversation about a movie that's not like, this is the best movie of the year or this is the worst movie of the year. I feel like I'm under pressure sometimes to say, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. And I read a lot of people and watch a lot of people online who seem to have a new worst thing every day. Hard to say.
Something there can be no kind of a middle ground on if a film is just okay. I thought the film was okay. I thought it's fine, but you know,
that's allowed.
Yeah, so it's like, and then I get attacked for saying someone just made up some accusation that I'm saying that if you don't want to watch Birds of Prey, then you must be a sexist. Something like that. I was like, what? I never said that. Never. I didn't say anything like that. But anyway, what can you do?
Yeah. I mean, my hope is that one day enough women will be making films that it will be totally okay for women to make boring, middling films and for people to say they don't like them and for that to be fine. Because it won't matter so much. The issue at the moment is that like so few women get to make movies that if there are bad reviews and bad box office for one of them, then it's used as an excuse to not make films by women again for ages, which is obviously not the right thing. You know, sometimes you just make a bad movie. Did you see A Wrinkle in Time like a couple of years ago? It was Ava DuVernay. It was awful, like god awful movie. And there was this real Brie Larson on stage, kind of at a talk, being like, if you didn't like it, it's probably because you're not a woman and doesn't speak to your experience. And I thought like, there's a scene in that film where Reese Witherspoon becomes a giant piece of lettuce and everyone rides her as she flies to the next location. It's like, I feel like that's a conversation we can have without worrying about my political points of view. I feel like that's a pretty obviously weird thing to do in a movie, you know? But yeah, I mean, there are plenty of people who like, even in this chat, who think that some pretty awful things about women and people who aren't white. So there you go.
Unfortunately, there's some I don't know where they came from, man. Actually, I do know where they came from. See, I think it was when Trump got elected, finally inaugurated, right? I did a video where I was comparing his speech to Bane from Dark Knight Rises.
Okay, yeah.
And that went trending. It was trending. I got emails from people, can we use your clip in our TV show? I was like, what is going on? And then you had all these comments from people, like one half thinking I was saying Trump is great or something, and the other half saying, oh, I like this YouTuber because he's saying Trump is evil and we should, all these things. So I don't know. I think a lot of those people are still here in the chat.
I definitely, it's the same with like Star Wars. Like a lot of it got kind of politicized. And I don't know if you saw, but when the Americans released all their findings about how much Russian stuff had gone on Twitter, the Russians were posting a lot about Star Wars. So obviously they were like pushing a politicized version of it. Weird.
Yeah. Americans are like, yeah, it's all Russia's fault.
But it's pretty bad in the UK. I mean, people like, I get a lot of UK fans calling me a liberal, which is so weird because it means something totally different in British politics. But yeah, it's obviously there's Americanisms kind of coming over.
I was just kind of browsing my kind of things I'd retweeted. Spirit Awards happened, I think, what was it, yesterday, the other day. Yeah. Uncut Gems did win Best Male Lead for Sandler.
And they also won, the Safdie brothers won something themselves as well.
Best Directors, yeah.
Yeah, great. I mean, it was the only one that actually gave any backing to Uncut Gems.
And Parasite won Best International Film.
Good.
So
the Spirit Award is like how award shows should actually be. They usually pick like the best movies. I think it's a much better descriptor of what are good films.
So who else is in the chat? I might start blocking people.
Yeah.
Who's this dumb Lolland guy? I think he's a MCU fan.
Someone has referred to MCU as the MCU. Jesus Christ.
Oh. After one female-led film of 22 or something, yeah, this MCU. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, literally, like, they still haven't had a sole woman director on the MCU, although that is changing with the new stuff.
Black Widow is going to be directed by...
Yeah, and also Eternals is as well.
Yeah.
But even like, Captain Marvel was co-directed by a man, right?
Yeah. So it's like, remember when in what was it? Black Widow went. Yeah, this is how much I hate Marvel Studios, right? They don't get this kind of criticism anywhere, but I see it and I was like, what is it? It's like they just sent out emails to all women directors. Here, all you women out there, we're not going to spend our time. We're not going to go after one director. We're going to say, here, all you women directors, which one of you wants to direct our Black Widow film? And that Lucretia Martel, she was like, give us more details. And they're like, yeah, don't worry about the action scenes. We'll handle that. And she was like, get the F out of your films are horrendous to listen to. The soundtrack's terrible. They're bland.
The woman who is directing it is a really good director. Like Laure's film she made is really good. But as you say, like half of the movie's not going to be directed by her anyway because all of their stuff is second unit. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they shoot it before they do the movie. I mean, I remember, is it Ang Lee who directed? No, it wasn't Ang Lee. It was, what's his name? The guy who did Hard Boiled.
John Woo.
Yeah, John Woo directed Mission Impossible 2. And he was told when he started writing basically the film, they were like, whatever you write, it has to have a motorbike chase in it because we've already filmed that. So you have to have a motorbike chase in this town. And yeah, that's how they do these movies. You know, they often do stuff years in advance or whatever. Or like with Marvel, they change everything afterwards anyway. I saw that effects breakdown for Endgame where they were like really showing off that they'd made all of the time travel suits in CGI. But it's like, why? Why not just put them in a costume? Like, I don't understand. I know the Hulk can't wear a costume, but like, come on.
Cheapness. They can make more money that way. They can save more money that way. Like, I think there was a a photo.
But I don't think that's not cheap. Like, I don't think that's I think it's more like a scheduling thing, like where they literally have to get all the actors in for like one day of shooting, so it may as well just be a green screen.
Someone says
Wild.
Feige is hiring Bale and Raimi because he realizes more people are criticizing his assembly line movies. Could this
Has he hired Raimi officially?
they're in talks, so you never know.
I think Sam Raimi would probably do a good movie, but depends how much of his movie is actually directed by him.
Yeah. Apparently he's in talks for Doctor Strange 2 after Scott Derrickson left. But and Bale probably do some kind of voice character.
Yeah, well, his face will be on screen for a couple of minutes, CGI'd into something else, because that's like Iron Man, right? Where it's like this much is Tony's face and the rest is something else. Gob, lol prick is still here. Your comments are really lively. It's very good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like fights.
MCU fan says RIP DC.
There is a guy in your stream called Film Goof.
Yeah, I know.
Is that like a parody account of you?
I don't know if he's uploaded any videos, but yeah, he's got he's got Shorty's
picture of you.
Picture.
Yeah.
Picture.
Jeez.
So yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there, William.
Done. Thank you so much for having me.
That's cool. So this is the first episode of our Collision Talk podcast. Not those other losers that we got to them. We ended that channel. That's what I'm talking about. We survived and they didn't. But yeah, thanks for coming, William. We'll do this another time, I'm sure.
Been my absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
That's great. So you can sign off. I'm just going to wrap up my show here.
Alrighty. All right. See you later. Thanks, everyone.
See all you knuckleheads in the chat? Huh? See when we've got a guest on? You better keep the fucking chat on point, huh? Or not on discussion. All you idiots talking about get woke, go broke, America, refugees, diversity. Huh? All you incels out there. But anyway, there was about 80 people watching. So click that like button if you enjoyed this episode of Collision Talk podcast. This is episode 1. And Oscars are tonight. The Oscars, all the rich people get together and they pat themselves on the back. And then the media cries about diversity and stuff. So click that like button, share, subscribe. You can follow us, of course, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Twitch, Discord. You can support us on patreon.com. Jose M is asking, will it always be Will or different guests? It will be different guests every episode. I can't promise an episode every week. Sometimes it'll just be the regular live stream, half an hour. But this time it was Will. Mr. Gopsy, stay with us a few minutes. No, man. Need to have my dinner, eh? Get my dinner up the road. And so I think because I was planning a Oscars review with another special guest. So maybe if she's still around, she actually wants to do it tomorrow, we'll do it tomorrow evening. So we'll have to wait and see. So until next time, everyone, I'm Shaker, he's Shorty McShawbread, and you're not. Ta-ta.